Hi, how are you today? Oh, sorry, I was looking in the wrong place. I'm doing well. I hope you are too. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my Knitter's Life series. This is episode 15, although not really, because I did skip an episode number. I actually skipped an episode number twice. I don't remember what they are offhand, but I was looking back through my channel's videos and I noticed that I missed one earlier this year. What is it? It's really episode 13. We're calling it 15 and we're just going to go with it for the rest of the year. Just stick with that numbering system where maybe there'll be some lost episodes at some point. Maybe I'll turn my Rhinebeck episode into a lost episode for the channel. Something like that. That's always fun, right? So my name is Shannon, and this is my channel, Whiskey and Wool. You can find me as Whiskey and Wool on Instagram and on Ravelry. On Instagram, there are 2 extra O's in the word wool, because I guess someone else has Whiskey and Wool with 2 O's. And I wanted to just take a moment to record my knitting from the last 3 weeks. I didn't make a video last week because I have been really, really social, like more social than I'm used to being. I probably would say I'm normally average social person. But the last couple weeks and even this weekend, it's just been, I have a lot going on. So I'm sneaking in to do a little video update of my knitting. I know there's going to be extra things. I may do a whiskey or gin chat this evening. In fact, I may do it right after I've finished filming. I'll have to see. And I know I'm baking cookies tonight too, so you may get that squeezed in at some point. And I want to talk about the color thing that people are doing where they're getting their colors done. I want to talk about that because, stick around. I'm going to do that at the end if you're interested. Talk about my experience with that. So, who knows what's going to be inserted where. This is Knitter's Life, so it will be a little bit it'll be mostly knitting, but there will also be some life stuff interspersed, which I think people seem to like. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you for coming. Thank you for stopping by and settle in. I'm gonna get going with my knitting. It has been 3 weeks since I did my last episode, and I have 2 finished objects. One I am wearing. This is the Busan sweater by Caroline of, I want to say it's Aegyoknits. I did this last time. Aegyoknits. I think it's Aegyoknits. I'm not sure exactly. I've never heard it pronounced, so I'm not really sure, except probably on Danish Musings, Hila's channel. Maybe that. I don't know if I've shared this before, but my last name is Bellum, and I am Danish descent, and I always just thought it would be really cool if my first name was Hila instead of Shannon, because then I'd be Hellbell. That would just be so fun. Anyway, so she may have said it because she made this sweater. She was actually the one that she's Hila's knitting journal on Instagram. She's the one that talked about it. I think she was test knitting it. I think she was one of the testers because it's newly out. I think on Ravelry there's only 10 or so, maybe. When I downloaded the pattern, there was only 10 other people who had made it linked it on Ravelry. You can't actually buy the pattern on Ravelry. You have to go to her website, but you can link the pattern there and see other people's project pages. There's also a lot, if you want to see more of versions of this, you can see those on Instagram, because I think she's pretty active over there. She's a Danish designer, and it seems like there's a certain aesthetic for Danish designers, at least for me, the sweaters seem oversized, which this is very oversized. This is I made the 49-inch size, which I'm a 40-inch, 39 to 40-inch bust. And so yeah, that's like 9 to 10 inches of positive ease, and it's really loose. I'm gonna so I'll put in a picture of what it looks like on. It was pretty interesting knitting this, starting right with the yarn. So it calls for a yarn that I spoke about this last time when this was a new cast on to an episode back. The yarn is not that easy to find, and when I could find it here in the US, I think it's a European yarn. When I could find it here in the US, the colors were really limited, and there weren't any that really sparked interest for me. Because I loved this pattern, the way this big fat cable looked so much from what I saw on Instagram. I really wanted to make this sweater, and I was willing to buy yarn for it. And you know I'm doing a stash down, and I'm trying not to buy yarn. I just want to reduce what I have because I moved and I'm in a smaller place, and I have more than I want to look at and more than I could knit in the next couple years. So trying to knit with what I have. So it turns out I just decided, like, on a whim to swatch with some Handspun, and so that's what you're seeing here. I ended up knitting it in Handspun with a strand of mohair held together. That's the way the pattern's written. The funny thing about this Handspun, though, is that it is very definitely a fingering weight yarn, where the wool that was called for in the pattern was very much worsted. But I think it was a lofty worsted, like probably something like Shelter, like Brooklyn Tweed's Shelter, like a very lofty yarn, woolen spun yarn. So I don't know. I swatched with this Handspun that I had, and I had gauge. I got gauge, and I was a little nervous about the yardage because she said in the pattern for the size I was making I needed 1,600 yards, and I had a little over 1,400, but I still have extra. I have leftover. I have almost a full skein. So I think I used about 1,200 yards for this, knitting it with fingering weight. I mean, you could see this very much is not worsted. I don't even think, or it's not worsted weight. I don't even think it's woolen spun necessarily. I tend to spin in kind of a semi-worsted. And this particular fleece was a very like kind of bright, lots of bright colors. And I did a 2-ply fractal spin. There were like, there's that like, you know, yellowy green that you catch a little bit right across here, but there was also this sort of, you know, blue green and bright orange, neon orange and purple and stuff, which you can see like every so often there would be like these purple lines that popped in. Someone last week was commenting, or last episode was commenting about the sleeves. You can see that the striping gets a little wider on the sleeves than they are on the body. I don't mind it though. I think it looks just fine. Yes. So a couple things that I did, a couple modifications. So this, I'm going to talk more about this again later when I show you my new cast on. But this pattern is a raglan, and in typical sort of knitter's raglan fashion, you are increasing in a straight line. So the shape of your I don't really have it's just basically a triangle. So you end up with, you know, you have a tiny little bit that's connecting to the neckline, and then it just grows out like this, and the idea is you increase until you get to the width that you need for the bust, and then you put those stitches on, sleeve stitches on hold, and continue going. What happens with that, I don't know, like, okay, I'm going to just tell you what happens with my size, and maybe it happens to you with your size. You can let me know. With my size, what that, in order to get to the bust measurement, I need my yoke measurement ends up being like from the shoulder to the bottom of the armpit ends up being like 12 inches. My natural, like the bottom of my natural armpit is only 8 inches. So that means I have like a 4-inch, or in this case it feels longer, drop to my arm, to where the garment's armpit is. Yeah, so it ends up being like a really draggy armpit, which I don't much like. So I know, because my natural armpit actually is probably like, let me not say my natural armpit is at 8 inches. I think what I would say is that 8 inches is about the shortest I like a garment's, like for a fitted garment, 8 inches is where the sleeve split should be. The most I like is 10. So somewhere in that 8 to 10. I can go a little longer. Like in this case, this is very much an oversized sweater. It's fine. Like I have to admit, like when I blocked this sweater and then I put it on Martha, my mannequin. Martha doesn't have anything to wear today. Otherwise she'd be here with me. Usually I put her in when she's got something to wear, but she doesn't have anything to wear. So she's over there in the other room hanging out. She'd been wearing this for the last week because I finished this a week ago and I didn't want to wear it because I wanted to save it for you. But anyway, yeah, I put it on Martha and I was like, wow, it's really, really too baggy. But when I slipped it on, it actually, like in a moving body, not like a mannequin, it looks great. Like it looks fine. And it actually has a little bit of a dressy look that I wasn't expecting. Like I thought I always equate oversized with sloppy. I know. It's not always that way. But yeah, I think I can wear it to work, which is awesome. And I do like it. Now my concern is that it may be a little bit too warm for me to wear it all that much. So I want to try to steer clear of making a lot, like watch Hila's knitting journal or her YouTube channel, Danish Musings, and she has, like everything she makes has a strand of mohair. That's just way too hot for me. The only other sweater I made with a strand of mohair that I can remember right now is a sweater vest. I don't know that I've ever, and Julie's love note, but I mean, for myself, like I haven't made any sweaters with a strand of mohair that I've kept. So we'll see. I'm hoping I can wear it. I really want to wear it, in the next couple weeks because it's very cold here and damp and rainy and gross. Like there's flooding and stuff happening, and not by me. I think I'm up on the cliff, like overlooking the Hudson River. There are apartment buildings along the river. I think they're having flooding because my phone was blowing up this morning from local advisory about flooding. So hopefully, I hope everyone's safe. But I've seen some pretty gnarly pictures online of people and videos of people in New York City, pockets of New York City that are flooding pretty badly. I don't know. Where was I going with that? I'm hoping to wear this because it's chilly and damp and gross here. So, and we're finally getting some fall weather. If only the hurricanes just subside a little bit and stop pushing warm air up here, and we won't get that soggy blanket weather. I feel like I'm babbling. Is there anything else I can tell you about the sweater? Oh, okay. So when I was doing the yoke, I did do some rapid increases right at the very end so that I wouldn't get such a long yoke. So I ended up cutting about an inch out of what it would have been for this pattern, which I'm glad about, because another inch. My rule of thumb, like if the armpit is so low that I can pull my elbow through it, like bend my arm like this, and I can touch my side and like get my arm out, that's too low. This is almost there. Anyway, there's also a shirt tail hem in the back. You know what? I'm going to take it off and show you. I'll show you so you can also see it up close. So see, there's like this shirt tail hem. See that? For my size, she said, I can't remember how many rows I was supposed to do. I didn't even do the amount of rows for the smaller size, the smallest size. I think it was 12. I want to say it was 12 short rows. You do short rows to create this shirt tail hem. I think I did 10. So I cut down, and that is plenty. I didn't need any more. If I had any more, it would really look like a shirt tail, like a train. I would have a train, a knitted train. But yeah, this is what it looks like in all its glory. Sleeves are really big. I didn't do the sleeve increases the way the pattern was written. I didn't even pay attention. I just did what I thought looked good, and I'm glad I did. I think I ended up with a slightly smaller cuff than the way the pattern was written, but it's still pretty big. It's that sort of loose, baggy idea. But I would definitely knit this pattern again. Just I would make some more modifications. I would modify the raglan a little bit. I would do more rapid increases across the top here, like to start off, because like when you see the pattern, when you see it, you know, before you block it to shape, it's as if like you don't have any shoulders, and I don't understand that, because I know I have, you know, I have a standard, like I'm a 12 basically, like a standard 12, and my shoulders fit in that, and I have like straight shoulders, like I don't have sloped shoulders. And I know I strength trained, so I maybe have like a little bit more broadness and straightness here, a tiny bit, than I would if I didn't. But it's just insane to me that there's this assumption that this kind of shape is gonna fit on me like on my body. So what I would do is do more rapid increases so that you get the width across the shoulders where you need it, and then slower increases until you get to the length of armhole drop that you want, which we've established for me is the longest is 10 inches. I can maybe even do 10 and a half, but this is just crazy. I should measure this, because this is pretty long. It's basically from here to here. That's gotta be like at least a foot, at least 12 inches, right? Maybe more. Yeah, so anyway, I'm wearing my Tarot 3 of Swords, 3 of Knitting Needles by the old owner of Knitting is Metal. I think you can still, I know she does the Death Tarot. I've seen the current owner. I've seen her on Instagram. I have a Death Tarot t-shirt though. I love it. It's so cool. It's cool looking. All right. What else? That's it. I think that's really it for this sweater. The cable is easy. It's a really big cable, and there's a lot of resting rows between having to do the crisscrossing. So that's really, really nice. You knit this also on big needles, which also surprised me that the fingering weight worked just fine. I don't remember the needle size. I want to say it's a US 8. I think it's a US 8. Yes, definitely. Because I ended up having to buy a longer US 8 needle. Or one of the sizes. I didn't have the size I need. Maybe it was a little small circumference, like a 16 inch. I ended up having to buy one. I have an interchangeable needle set. I just always forget that I have it, and I forget that I should use it. I don't really like it. I don't like having to tighten the needle all the time, and I don't like how the yarn gets caught on it. I just don't like it. I'd rather just use fixed needles. Unpopular knitting opinion, probably. But yeah, I do own a set, so I should use them. Okay, moving on. That was a lot. It was too much. I'm going to try to cut. I'm going to try to edit. I have another finished object. You're going to be so proud of me. If you've been here a while, you know I'm doing this family sock project for Christmas presents for my children and their partners. So I finished one of my sons, the one who has the biggest feet, he's a size 13, men's size 13, and I knit these out of Handspun. They're a little damp still. I set them to block this morning, and like I said, it's a really damp day. It's kind of gross. So that, actually, let me show you both of them, because they are slightly different. They're more like, they're not exactly a matched pair, but it's the same yarn. It's just that the Handspun, the nature of Handspun, of this particular Handspun, which is very much a Morrow, yeah, so there's color, it's color changing all the way through, but it's so, these are so pretty. I actually would have given these to, I would have made this yarn into socks for my oldest son who has the daughter. But this guy was over and saw the yarn and said he really liked it. So I probably would have picked it for my other son. This is the son that really likes bright blues. So I was surprised that he wanted this. So I have him on my on my blocking mat. So I'm gonna just put that aside so they can keep drying. But yay, those are done. Those are the Andrea Mowry's. It's a hybrid. I do a hybrid of, sorry if you've been here and you've heard me say this over and over. I say this every time. It's a hybrid of the Bear Paw and the Andrea Everyday Sock. Andrea Mowry DRK Everyday Sock. Because I use a 3mm needle, not the 325 recommended for the Bear Paw, or the, I think it's a 2.5 that's recommended for the DRK Everyday Sock. That's also a fingering weight. The Bear Paw is a DK, so I just I modified it. I modified the pattern. I cast on a few more stitches, and it's just a nicer sock to me. I do have notes on, I've made this sock pattern. I engineered the pattern for a women's size 8 shoe, a men's size 8.5, a men's size 10. So I think women's 8 and men's 10 are probably the most popular sizes of shoes. And men's 13. So you can see what I did. I think I wrote the cast-ons. So you can just go through my project pages and look at all of my socks. So yeah, so those are the sizes that I've done, that I've modified for the 3mm needle, which I just think makes nicer fabric than the, using DK, than the 325 that is in the Bear Paw pattern. Okay, let me give you some other updates. Sticking with this same kid. This is, his birthday's in December, and I'm working on a shawl for him. I did some pretty good progress, as you would expect, since it's been 3 weeks. I actually got into a really good rhythm where I was spending like a couple days just knitting on one thing, and then I would put that down and move to something else. This is Chevronopolis by Maxim Cyr of Les Garçons. He's in there. Les Garçons is the yarn company. Max is the knitwear designer, and I think Vincent does knitwear designing too. I think he did a hoodie, actually, a men's hoodie, which I think I have queued, or I've eyed it and liked it for a long time. But yeah, this is a shawl where you start. I started here at this point with, I think, just very few stitches. And you gradually increase along this line here, and this is a straight line. This, I know it's curling and hard to see, but yeah, so that is Chevronopolis. The repeat is over 50 rows, and it's these two chevrons, this one, and this one. So you do the repeat, I think, a total of 8 times, if I'm remembering right. And I'm on my 4th repeat. Not that I'm halfway done. I know I'm not halfway done because it takes 2 skeins of each color about. And I look how much I still have left of the one color. This is Magpie Fibers. It was a special winter colorway in 2021. And I'm using more Handspun. So this is a self-striping Handspun that I made from Loop Fiber Studios. I talked more about the process of making this way back when I made it, but also just an episode back or 2 episodes back, one to two, both of them, I probably went through the process of how I made the self-striping yarn. It's made from a particular type of fiber. Anyway, go watch if you're interested. If I remember, it'll be linked here, if I remember in editing. But yeah, I'm excited because it's finally moving to this kind of golden color. I've been knitting 2 shades of turquoise, which I think you can see the demarcation is right down there, right through there. It's a bit of a gradient, like you can kind of see. It's a bit of a gradient turquoise right now, and it's starting to kind of fade out, so it's getting a little paler and paler. It had like some intense moments down here, and then it'll move over into this gold color, and then to this burgundy, and then there's a green in there. See it better from this side, and then it goes back to turquoise, and I have 2 more skeins of the same yarn doing like the same thing, similar things. So this will be cool, I think, when I get it done. Luckily, I don't have to finish it until December. His birthday's early December, so around Thanksgiving I should have it done. I mean, if I finish it before that, I'll be delighted. I would really like to finish it sooner. I have finally, so if you have been watching me for the last few episodes when I've been talking about this, when I first cast it on, it was really exhausting because it was over 50 rows of a pattern repeat where you had to look at every row and see what to do. And I couldn't understand what I was doing, but now I get it. I've memorized it. I can pretty much knit it without looking at the pattern instructions at all, because it starts to get intuitive. Like then you're like, oh, okay, I get what I'm doing here. It is mosaic. It's a mosaic stitch where you're only knitting 1 color at a time, and then so you knit across, and then you purl on the back side. You're purling the same exact color and stitches that you did on the front when it was on the front. So it's not too bad. Yeah, it's not too bad. I don't mind it. It's grown on me. Needless to say, though, it's not a fast knit. I don't think. It doesn't feel like a fast knit to me. Not yet. And those rows are getting longer and longer and longer. It's going to end up being a pretty big piece, I think. I think it has like a 70-inch wingspan, something like that. But I just thought it would be a beautiful piece, and my son could wear it like around his neck. On the chillier days and evenings that we know we're gonna get at some point. He doesn't really dress very warmly, just generally. Like, I don't know if he just doesn't feel the heat or if he just is flippant about it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm excited to get him this. I think he's gonna love it. Those colors are right up his alley, like those very bright blues. He loves those, and purples, bright blues and purples. Moving on. I do have an slight update on my Tessellated Vest. This is another pattern by Andrea Mowry, and it's the Rhinebeck sweater of the year. You can either do a pullover or a vest. I opted to do a vest. This is actually my second one. I made one earlier. I made it right when it came out. The pattern came out, and I whipped through it. I was done in about 10 days. This one's taken me a little longer, I think, just because I'm doing mosaic there. This is also mosaic. I really want to wear this, though. This is perfect for this time of year, like to just put a vest over a t-shirt or a button down, and I'm good to go. I look polished and dressed, especially this pattern. It's just, it looks kind of tweedy from far back, right? I've already worn my other one several times. I love it. And of course I'm going to wear one of them to Rhinebeck. I'm not going to just, if you know, you don't just wear one thing to Rhinebeck. You have multiple things, like keep sweater changes in the car kind of thing. So, cause different meetups and stuff. So I think the most I've worn in the same day is 3. Also bring a t-shirt in case it's hot. I actually think it's going to be a little chilly. It seems like we're getting some chilly weather, but who knows? We may end up with, some warm times. I I've been twice now when it's been in the 70s, which is a little bit too warm for sweaters if you ask me, but a vest you could probably do. All right, babbling too much about weather. There you go. Get a nice close-up. I'm using 2 of the yarns. My contrast yarns are yarns that were recommended in the pattern. A Spincycle yarn and the colorway Castaway, which is, it's a very neutral Castaway. There's no blue in it. The blue is like a blue-gray. It does have the golden rusty color, as you can see in it. And I'm using the Moondrake Fuwa in the colorway Sprout. That's the Sprout. My Spincycle is actually getting kind of low. I'm a little concerned because I haven't split for the armholes yet. And I made one before and I went just a little bit over the 1 skein. So I only have 1 skein of this, but I have many dribs and drabs of Spincycle yarn that has gray in it, and I have another full skein that's gray tones that'll go. I think I'll be able to knit it right in the pattern, and no one will be the wiser that, you know, it's I completely changed colors. So anyway, I'll be fine. I think I've been knitting on this on and off over the past couple weeks, and I swear to God, every time I measure it, it measures 8.5 inches and it needs to be 11.5. So I'm just like, why is it always 8.5? Haven't I knit? I've been knitting on it. That's really crazy. The beautiful black yarn that you're seeing here is by Les Garçons. Is this the first yarn I've used from theirs? I think it is. This is their British Sport. I bought it right away when it came out. Because I had in my head this, like I knew I wanted to use a vibrant green from Fuwa. This is the colorway Sprouts. I think I already said that. But I wanted to put it on a black ground, and I was going to pair it with one of these grayed out, kind of very neutral looking Spincycles. So I purchased 2 skeins of this. So you can see I'm getting pretty close to using this up. I think you only use like a little bit of the second skein, as I recall. No, I used almost all of it, but I used I think it had a different yardage. I used Plucky. So this is their British Sport. I love it. In Moira's Black Rose. It's a nice deep dark black. It's really hard to find a deep dark black in indie dyed yarn. Black is a hard color to achieve, but they've managed to do it. But yeah, I need to get this done. So this might be the next thing that you see complete. We'll see. I'm also super excited about this new cast on I have, which I'm going to show you next. Oh, before I show you this, I don't have much done anyway. I'm going to have you watch a video. I made a video of my project planning for this project, and take a look, and I'll come back and show you. I did change a couple things from that. I'm project planning my next cast on, and I got very interested in this, the Rumble Raglan by Lydia Morrow. She goes by What Lydia Made on Instagram and Ravelry. It is a corrugated, wrong. It's a 2x2 stranded colorwork Raglan sweater. Also, she cropped it. I won't be cropping mine quite as short as she has here. And it's 3, you can either do 2 or 3 colors. So my head started spinning with of course, I want to use up yarn in my stash as per the usual. And, you know, it's kind of challenging coming up with 3 colors to go with this. And, you know, I was also very inspired by the very bright colors that Lydia uses in her own makes, and by her test knitters who also did a lot of bright colors. So I'm a little obsessed with this right here, especially right now, because this is a Halloween color. And I was trying to figure out, like, how could I use it and have it not be so Halloween? So I pulled out, this is a full skein. These are partial skeins, but nearly full. They're about 300 yards, and I need slightly less than a full skein of all 3 colors. So you'll see I have 4. I was very indecisive. My first thought was to do this these two, like with this very speckled yarn. And what I loved about this pattern is that it uses 3 skeins, and you could use speckle yarn, and that's mostly what I have in my stash is speckled yarns, because I love them. They're so beautiful. Yeah, okay, so I swatched. And I ended up, so I started here with this top part with the Pinku from Lobby and Aimée, and then the Halloween, I think this is called Halloween Town, and it's from Vida Lifestyle. The dyer lives in Staten Island. I don't remember her name right now, but she has a shop. I think it's Vida Lifestyle. I'll put it on screen if I'm wrong. And it'll definitely be in the notes, show notes below. I bought this in 2021 at the first Cake Wool. I just bought her Halloween set. So anyway, I swatched those two to start, and I started to worry. So bear in mind, it's been cloudy and rainy the last few days here. So and now I have a bright sunny day, and I'm right next to a bright sunny window. I was wondering if they were too close, but I actually think in this light, they really work. So I dug into my stash and pulled out this brighter color to just see. Of course, you get more contrast with the Halloween color. And then I put it together with the peach, and I don't really like these two together. This very much red violet with this more less saturated peach tone. Having said that, though, I really loved the samples that had peach, or like a more kind of very soft color mixed with bright colors. So I went ahead and finished the swatch, and I love the peach with the Halloween color. But I think what I'm going to do is go back to my original plan and just do that. Can you see that? Like that. It'll look like that. I'm slightly concerned I don't have enough yarn for this, of these two. I know I have enough of this. I don't know if I have enough of these two. So this may end up sneaking in from time to time, depending on how panicked I feel. All right, anyway, that was one colorway. Oh, and by the way, I got gauge. So I know that once I do a swatch with a certain type of yarn, these are all superwash fingering weight yarns, I really don't concern myself with swatching anymore. So I had another idea, and this was actually my first idea. This. When I did the search through my mini skeins for the Mystery Knit Along with Stephen West, I was really taken by these limey green colors, and I was like, I gotta use them in something. I may not use this actually. It's kind of a disruptor to the whole, to the schematic here. And here's that sort of fleshy, peachy color. But this is a hand spun that I spun a while ago. It is kind of a little squishy. It's got some camel in it, if I remember right. It's mostly merino. It has camel and it has sparkle, and look at all those colors. So I thought, well, this would be beautiful as the main color. Perhaps I could combine some minis. So I came up with this palette here. I don't think I'm gonna need these dark colors, but who knows? I do want to go a little bit longer than the sweater. I'm also going to modify the pattern slightly, which I'll talk to you about as I go. But I love this too. I mean, I think that when you're in this like tonal range, you can't go wrong. And I sort of feel like that's what this is doing as well. Like this is very much a tonal range. So just to give you a recap, I am basically in this like yellow, green, green, blue, green, like in this trio right here. And I think, pretty sure they're across the wheel from these oranges. Yeah. So you can see like, especially this is really, I would say, is the tone. Well, it veers into red. It veers into these three. So I basically have these three all in one with little hints of teal, like, so this color is in there too. and then I'm contrasting it with these 3. So I'm just doing this, like, this is the best contrast you can get. So yeah, so I came up with these 2 really great combos. I don't know which I want to cast on. I'm leaning towards this, although the mini skeins make the main color. This would be a 2-color version, only the mini skeins would all be considered 1 color, and I would then follow her 2 skein, or 2 color. She has a 2-color and a 3-color version. But on the other hand, Halloween and bright. I mean, am I gonna make both? I don't know. I don't know what to do. Slightly concerned this might not be enough, but I guess I can cross that bridge when it comes to it. I can always modify, right?
Welcome back.
So after I filmed that, I went back in my, I should first say I'm doing the pink one. I really, really want the green one. I really want the green and blue one. I think that's going to look great. But I thought before I start messing around with like veering too far off track with the pattern, let me first make one the way it's written. And then I can, fool around. And as it turns out, I actually, after I stopped filming and I was like reorganizing my yarn and stuff, I remembered that I had this in my stash too from Lobby and Aimée. And this is a special colorway Calicifer. I think she still dyes it. It's really cool though. It's like this bright orange and hot pink and red all together. Because I started to ponder the yardage and I was like, I don't know if I have enough yardage of this and this. So I was like, well, I also have this. So I thought like these 3 together with my full skein of Halloween Town from Vida Lifestyle. Right? I think that's pretty good. I'm excited. So what I decided to do, because since this is a full skein and I don't think I'm going to run out of this, I decided to use these 2 colors as one, because together they're about 550 yards, which is plenty for that color, and kind of mix it up, like mix up how I use it. So I started out by doing the neckband in the darker color. Sorry, I like to see what you're seeing, and my monitor shuts down. So I'm always like touching it. If I'm reaching over here, it's because I'm touching the monitor to make it come back to life so I can see what you're seeing. So I cast on the neckband, and let's wrong side up. There we go. That's the right side. Cast on the neckband using the darkest color, which I hope I like. After I got like 6 rows in, I was like, oh, I probably should have used this one. I probably should have used the middle one, but it's fine. It'll be fine. I don't feel like ripping it back out. It is half twisted rib, so you're twisting the knit stitch and the purl you can see on the other side, I think. The purl is normal, so this is the front side. The pattern is interesting. It is, I've never made a pattern by Lydia Morrow before, and I'm making this, I should, oh, wait, there's a few things. Where do I start? Where does one start with all the things? All right, let me just start. So I decided to make the size 6, which is the size that she's wearing in the picture. And she has, her bust is about 10 or 12 inches bigger than mine. And the pattern is written for at least 10 inches of negative ease. And that scared me because I was just like, I don't know if I want that on my body. Like, I don't know. Like, it looks great on her, and her test knitters, they look amazing. But I'm like, I don't know if I want that much negative ease. Like, that's a lot of negative ease. So I am knitting the size 6, which will get me about 1 to 2 inches of negative ease instead. I definitely don't want negative ease around my middle. So that's what it came down to. I was like, well, I can do negative ease across my bust line, but I want it to kind of be looser after that. Like I don't want it to look too tight across my upper chest, nor do I want it to look tight across my stomach. And it is cropped, but I've decided I won't be cropping it. I'm probably gonna, I'll crop for me. So for me, I'm kind of long-waisted. So crop for me is about 21 to 22 inches, like what I'm doing with the vest. I'm knitting the vest about 1.5 inches longer than what Andrea did. Andrea is short-waisted. Just if you're short-waisted too, her patterns probably work beautifully the way they're written. But if you're not short-waisted, if you have an average waist or you're long-waisted, you're going to need more length to have the same look. So Lydia made a crop version for herself, and it looks so cute on her. But for me, I don't want that look. I want it to be a little longer. Like I want it to hit my high hip, which means I probably need the body length to be like from shoulder to the hemline to be about 21, 22, somewhere in there, inches. So yeah. So I am knitting this a little bit bigger, which was a part of my concern about yardage. And then also, I'm going to modify the raglan shaping because this is yet another raglan knit that the lines are straight from the neck to the armpit, and you're increasing every other row until you reach your bust measurement. And that's the same as this too, every other row. I think that's kind of a standard that knitters do. The thing is, so I have a lot of fashion industry experience. I can sew, I can make my own patterns. I have a crap ton of textile experience. If you buy a raglan, like a baseball raglan t-shirt, they didn't cut those lines straight. They didn't make straight lines. There's shaping in there that you don't notice on your body. But there is very definitely shaping in there. So because I have that knowledge, I know that I'm going to get a better fit if I add some shaping. And adding shaping in knitting is just a matter of subtracting or adding stitches to get the shape you want. So I'm going to do rapid increases, and I'm also going to not let the armpit be this low because I think something that has negative ease with a low armpit is just going to look strange on me. Like, I just don't think I'm going to like that fit for my body. So I'm going to be doing the armhole drop for the smallest size, although I'm knitting the 6th size. And I'm going to accomplish that by doing rapid increases across from the start, like from the neck down, and then stopping when I reach the length of armpit that I think, or armhole drop that I think is going to work for me. I think the smallest size is like a 9.5. Actually, you know what? I have the pattern right here. I can tell you. The smallest size is, the yoke drop is, yoke depth, she calls it, is 9 3/4 inches. I'm hoping to get it to actually make that a little shorter. So, you'll see what happens. I think it's going to look pretty nice. I might end up doing a little bit of rapid increase at the bottom too, to just keep the armhole depth, yoke depth shorter, and fit my body better. But this is very exciting. The only thing I can say is that, it's a lot of knitting on these tiny little needles to get through the rib. She's written the pattern so that you can do a fold over rib neck or a single, and I'm like, hell no, I'm doing a single. Because a fold over is just not I don't want to knit almost 30 rows to get the fold over. Because as it is, I'm knitting probably almost 15. I want to get to the fun part where I get to do the color work. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I really want to do the other one too. I just felt like this would be more, these colors are more right now, like more, what's happening right now. And I think that will look really great at Christmas time, like around the holiday season. So that other color palette will look really great around that holiday season. So yeah, did I say all those solids are from La Bien Aimée? They're all from La Bien Aimée. They're leftovers from a striped sweater that I did. Well, this is actually from Alpenglow. The other two are left over from a stripes sweater that I did by Andrea Mowry, where you do like 5 or 6 different color stripes. You can do whatever you want stripes wise, but it's like a basic kind of round yoke sweater that has stripes like inch wide or so yeah. So that's a very pretty bright sweater that I love and I wear a lot. That is it for me with knitting. I do not have any spinning, but I do have some stash to share. I partook in, let me get the crinkling out of the way so I'm not talking over it and you don't miss anything. I partook in the Stranded Dye Works pre-order for the Stranded Elf colorway. If you're familiar with Stranded Dye Works, you'll know that Jude lost both of his parents within a few weeks of each other. I think it was around a year ago. And, right? It wasn't spring. Was it? I don't remember. Anyway, this past year, he lost both his parents. And his mother helped him run the business, and he nicknamed her the Stranded Elf. So, I mean, she was delightful. I've been a long time fan of Jude and Stranded Dye Works, and I have plenty of his yarn in my stash, and you've seen some. I recently knit some socks out of it. So I just had to buy some. I mean, it's such a beautiful, this is such a me color too. I love this turquoise color. And because it was just stash enhancement, I didn't have a project in mind. I decided to go with mohair, because when I look in my mohair jar, there's nothing this color because I've knit with it all. So I was like, yeah, I think I need more of that. So I ended up buying two skeins, and they are 459 yards each. So this is about 900 yards, which should be plenty for holding together, holding double with another something, or I don't know, something. I'll use it for something. Maybe a love note for me. I don't know. But it's so pretty, and I was really happy to add this to my stash to remember Mary. Yeah. Okay, this is a very simple sugar bar cookie recipe made with cream cheese to give it some oomph. So you cream together the butter and cream cheese, which I'm about to do. I have pre-measured my flour with salt and sugar. I need to get an egg out. That's the last ingredient. And then there is extract. It calls for 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, but I like to do a mixture of half almond, half vanilla. So that's what I've got going on here. And I just left those out because I'm probably gonna do the same mix, half for the frosting, which will be much later, maybe even tomorrow. Who knows? Because it's getting a little late right now. It gets baked in a 13 by 9 pan, which I need to butter and put a layer of parchment paper down before I start mixing everything, because once I start mixing, the batter goes in there and then we bake it. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking and just show now. talk to you a little bit. How are we doing on time? Pretty good. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the colors that is making the round in social media. People are getting their colors done, and the schematic of the colors is by season. So you're a winter, you're a spring, you're a summer, you're a fall. And then inside those, there's like some variations, like a true summer or a bright summer or a light summer. I think it's light, bright, true are the variations. So I did get my colors done. I got my colors done when I was 20 years old using that same schematic. That's how long that stuff has been around. So I've been watching with lots of amusement. I actually took a class on it for college credit because I was a fashion major. And I remember at that time, like, my father was a summer in terms of his coloring, and he thought that me and my sisters should wear those colors too, because the thing is, like, what you should first know about that whole color theory thing, that application of which season are you, generally speaking, you migrate to to colors that look good on you. So the colors that you like are probably ones that look good on you. So that's one thing. And so my father liked colors that looked good on him, but he wanted us to also wear them, which is kind of funny. I guess if you're not thinking about, like, if you don't know anything about color, you might naturally do that, like dress your children in colors that you like, even though they might not look good on them. So that's a long way to get to the point, which is I went into that class thinking that I was a summer, and I looked at those colors in the summer palette, and I was like, these are the colors that I tend to wear. And the instructor was like, nope, you're a spring. So she saw right away, and she went through the process of, like, explaining to me why, like, how she came to that conclusion, because I was pretty, like, in shock, like, what? I am? But yeah, so I'm a spring. I'm actually a true spring, but I think as I'm aging, I'm probably going to end up more in the light spring, because I've noticed a little bit, like, some of the brighter colors that I really love to wear are, sometimes they might be a little harsh on me. I can see the future where I might, as we tend to kind of get more washed out as we age. I can see where I may need to sort of tamp back some of those brighter colors, for colors that are most flattering on me. So I wanted to share that, but I also wanted to share maybe some wisdom about getting your colors done, because I can tell you, because I have known my colors for 3 decades, and I've been living with I know the palette that I'm supposed to wear, that I quote unquote am supposed to wear, that would be true spring. I can tell you a few things. One is, I do not exclusively wear those colors. I wear what I want. I wear what I like. Like, technically, I should never wear navy, or black or white, but I love all of those, or gray. I wear all of those. I just make sure that somewhere in the whatever I'm wearing, there are colors that I know will brighten me up and make me look more awake. It's useful. I do think those colors are super useful. Like, knowing what your colors are is very useful with makeup in particular, because that was super eye-opening for me. I was a child of the 80s and a young adult in the later 80s, and frosted pink lipstick was all the rage, right, in the 70s and 80s. So in early 80s, and then it went more black. People were wearing black lipstick, which I love, but also not one of my colors. And frosty pink, like those pinks that have more blue tones in them, don't look good on me at all. They make me look washed out. In fact, you might remember a few, maybe about 6, 7, 8 months back, I was wearing a hand knit that I had made out of some, like, a pale dusty pink, and it's too blue toned for me. I realized that it really made me look washed out, and I was like, I need to make myself another one of these using a yarn that looks good on me, because I know these don't. So I just realized, sorry, I paused just because I realized that I'm assuming that y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't remember who conceived the color ranges. I want to say it was an Asian woman. I don't remember. I'm going to put any information I can find on screen as I'm talking, so that you are informed. And if things don't fit on screen, just look down in the description box. I'll have more info about where to find the colors. But if you could do a quick Google and you'll find colors. If you go to Pinterest, you'll find the whole palette that I'm talking about. It's set by season, and it's exactly what you would think. Like the autumnal people are the people that can wear like pumpkin and gold and like that sort of slimy green color, like lichen color, those are the autumnal colors. Winter colors tend to be bright jewel tones, like bright, deep jewel tones. Summer tends to be like lighter tints of those jewel tones, but on the cool side. So winter and summer are cool. Spring and autumn are more warm toned. And you can see, if you, like my teacher taught me, if you make a fist, you can see your skin tone, and you can see, like if you put it next to white, you'll see whether it's sallow, yellowy, or pinky. And I'm very sallow. Like, I'm very sallow. So there's a lot of yellow in my skin. Not as much pink. It's someone described my skin once as peaches and cream, like peachy tone. Those are the tones. Like, that's what's in my skin tone, peachy tones. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you figure out your colors, your palette, you don't have to wear it exclusively. You can definitely mix and match. Like, I would say on the bottom, it's interesting because I do think about this when I get dressed, but like my bottoms are almost all blue and black and gray. I have a couple bright colored bottom, like that are I have some coral colored pants that's very definitely a spring color. I'm actually wearing a lot of the spring colors right here. I mean, I would say that purpley color probably is not a spring color, but it works because it's, all together. I'm supposed to wear ivory, not white. I love white though. And it was very funny. After I got my colors done, about a year later, I was looking in my closet and I realized that like half of what I had in my closet at that particular time was white. And I did some other color analysis workshops where it said that if you wear white all the time, you're bored with life. And I was just like, oh my God, am I bored with life? Like, I mean, I was all of 21 at that point. I probably was bored with life at that point. But I deliberately then put color back in my wardrobe because I was like, I'm really wearing too much white. And it was just probably simpler. Like at that point in time, I was about to graduate college and I had been poor for a long time. And I probably just bought things because they went together. They were like, in my head, I was like, oh, everything goes with white. I went through a black period too, where I had a lot of black in my wardrobe. That was in my 30s. I just bought a lot of black. But yeah, it's interesting, right? The whole color theory thing and how certain colors do. It's true, like certain colors do look good on you, I would say. So yeah, just keep wearing what you want. Don't worry too much about it, I would say. Like, don't worry about it. It's fine. Like, you can veer off. If you're like gonna plan a wedding though or something, pick colors that are in your palette. Like, put together colors that are in your color palette, because you're just gonna feel good surrounded by those colors. And yeah, I was just thinking, like, for my wedding dress, I had a pink wedding dress. I didn't wear white or ivory. I would not have worn ivory. I don't know. I just didn't like that idea. It would have been white, but I ended up wearing pink. My girlfriend wore red for her wedding dress. There's no right or wrong. You can do whatever you like. It's your life. There's no rule book. Just do it. Just do what you like. So yeah, that would be if you have questions though, I'm happy to try to answer them in the comments below, or maybe if there's a lot of questions that are similar, I might just talk about it in the next episode. Talk about what you, because I'm curious, like it's so funny when I saw the trend coming back, because for a while it disappeared completely, like it was just gone. And I was just like, that's weird. Like, what? No one does this anymore? Like, no one's concerned about that? And now all of a sudden there's this huge resurgence of it. And it's really just all over social media. You can't get away from it. And I'm like, interesting. Funny. That's back again. I guess it was valid. Anyway, fun. It's fun. It's fun to look at and think about and, all of those things. So, needless to say, if you're in the warm side of the family, if you're in the spring, autumnal side, you should wear warm-toned reds, warm-toned greens, warm-toned, like some of those colors that, warm-toned blues, warm-toned purples. If there's a few. So like that red violet that I'm always liking. That is, and turquoise, which I love. Those are in the spring palette. Yeah, let's chat about it. Let me know what you think. I'm going to end now. Even though I might have other clips after this, I'm not sure. We'll see how things all end up in editing. Oh, I forgot to say, I didn't say what I've been up to. So it's just been such stormy, rainy weather this past couple weeks, and I went to New York City and I wanted to film, but there it was really just a huge downpour, and filming just would have been so hard. You just would have seen fog and raindrops probably on the lens. So I ended up not filming, but I had a super busy social week where I had something going on every single night of the week where I was busy. And this weekend, my son, who's moving from Portland, Maine to El Paso, Texas, is coming. Was supposed to come tonight. It's Friday, and stay the weekend and with me, he and his family, he and his wife and his daughter and his cat. They're bringing their cat because they're driving from Maine to Texas, and I'll be the first stop on that journey. So they were supposed to come tonight and stay the night and then head out tomorrow. They postponed because they just couldn't get organized and packed. So they're almost, he texts me in the middle of me filming this, telling me that it's looking good, and they're coming down tomorrow. So they're going to be here, I think, like early mid-afternoon, and so they'll stay the night and head out on Sunday. So I'm thinking that Sunday I'll be able to edit, and I just wanted to get the filming done now. So I'll put some clips in of them if I have some fun clips of my granddaughter Julie playing. She's gonna open her love note, so maybe I can get a picture of her or some clips or whatever of her in her new sweater. I think it's gonna be big on her, but that's fine. So yeah, I can't wait to see them. I'm excited for them to see my new place. They haven't been here yet because they've just had a crazy, insane couple past months. So and yeah, so that's gonna be my weekend, and and then it'll be sleepy again for a little bit until Rhinebeck weekend. I am going to Rhinebeck. I wasn't sure because my granddaughter's birthday falls right around Rhinebeck weekend every year. She's born October 15th, and this year that's the weekend before Rhinebeck, but they're going to be in Texas, and they're going to have just arrived. So I didn't think it was good timing for me to fly. Plus flights are like $1,000 because I didn't buy it 2 months ago. They're really expensive right now because we weren't sure what they were doing. So I wasn't sure where they'd be for her birthday. So I decided to wait and just fly down there for Christmas instead. They might go to Cancun, which I'll be invited to go. So I'm so excited about that. I think that would be so fun, because then I could take care of Julie and they could go out and, whatever, do stuff, do adult stuff. Well, I do granddaughter stuff, so that would just be so fun. But I'll talk to you more about that when that's gets a little closer and those plans kind of coalesce and firm up. But anyway, there might be stuff after this that might be cool to see. I don't know. But you probably already saw clips of New York City and some of my kitties, my cats, that are, always active and running around. But thank you so much for watching and for being here with me. And I look forward to reading your comments and hearing your thoughts. As always, I love reading your comments. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.